Today's video is going to be a little different, not just because we're in my kitchen, but because it's going to feature something of a cooking tutorial along with some awesome botanical facts. Today, we're going to be making shrub. And not the growing out of the ground kind of shrub. This is a beverage component made out of vinegar, sugar, and fruit. Though they're often used in cocktails, they're also great with just seltzer or tonic. Shrub and tonic is my go-to summer drink. Shrubs are also referred to as drinking vinegar or sipping vinegar. I tried to find some reputable historical sources on the origins of shrub and drinking vinegar, but unfortunately because it's become kind of a newfangled health craze, I had a really hard time finding good sources. So if you have any about the origin of shrub and drinking vinegar, definitely leave those in the comments. Some people also tout vinegar as a healthy thing to add to your diet, but I'm not here to give out medical advice. I just think that shrubs are delicious. They're both sweet and tart, kind of like lemonade. Now to make a basic shrub, you only need 3 ingredients. Firstly, fresh fruit. In my case, I'm using strawberries, but you can really use whatever your heart desires. Second, sugar. I'm using basic white sugar here. I've used brown sugar, but I didn't really like it as much. It kind of dominated the finished product and all I tasted was the brown sugar. And lastly, vinegar. You have a few options such as apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar. I'm using apple cider vinegar just because. With those acquired, you only need a couple of basic supplies. You will need a bowl, a sieve or cheesecloth, plastic wrap, a sealable container for the final product like a mason jar, a whisk, and a sharp knife and a cutting board. The whisk is really optional. I don't know why I have that on the list. Now I'll be making a cold pressed shrub, which is slower but arguably easier. No messing with hot stovetops or pots and pans, especially in this hot summer weather. Like I said, I'll be using strawberries, which I need to cut into smaller pieces. Strawberries, scientific name Fragaria ananassa, are in the rose family. A strawberry is somewhat unique as a fruit, as fruits go. It is an accessory fruit, meaning that the fleshy, delicious part doesn't actually come from the ovary of the flower like with most fruit. Instead, the receptacle of the flower expands and the little seeds on the surface of the strawberry are actually the fruits. They're just very, very tiny. Humans have been eating wild strawberries for at least a few thousand years, but the strawberries we find in grocery stores today are grown on large farms. In fact, a total of 3 billion pounds of strawberries are produced in the US every year. This variety is known as the garden strawberry, a variety that wasn't cultivated until the 1800s. Prior to then, people grew wild strawberry varieties. The hybridized garden strawberry is favored because of its color, smell, sweetness, and size. Alright, with the strawberries chopped up, next we need to add the white sugar. I'm using about a cup of white sugar to start and then kind of eyeballing it from there. And then I'm gonna mush up those strawberries to kind of help release the juices so it combines with the sugar. What we want is a sugar syrup as these two things combine. So the next step is easy. You're going to cover this fruit sugar combo in plastic wrap and let it sit in the fridge overnight or even longer. Those juices will combine, creating that syrup, and you can check the mixture periodically to see how it's doing. Once you're happy with that combination of sugar and fruit, you need to strain it. This can be a little bit messy. I've tried using a strainer and cheesecloth. I do prefer cheesecloth even though it's way messier because you can really get all the juice out and kind of use your hands to squeeze out the last of it so that you're not wasting any of that good fruit juice. So you're going to want to squeeze that out into some kind of bowl, and then I transfer it to the mason jar before the last step. And that last step is adding the vinegar. And slight tangent, but apple cider vinegar, like I'm going to be using, is also plant derived. As its name indicates, it's derived from apples. The juices are squeezed out of apples and then fermented with yeast and bacteria, yielding vinegar. So you can add usually like it's 1 part sugar, 1 part fruit, 1 part vinegar, so kind of eyeball it that way. I do it really non-scientifically and then like taste it and see how it tastes. I like a lot of vinegar, maybe you like less, so I'd say start with less vinegar and then go up from there. And with the vinegar added, your shrub is pretty much ready to go. The taste will likely change and mellow over time, and it should be kept refrigerated in a sealed container. Stored that way, it should last at least a few weeks, but if you're like me, it'll be used up long before then. Like I mentioned, I drink shrub with just straight up tonic and some ice. I find it's like a really refreshing, sweet and tart drink, especially when it's really, really hot. If you decide to make a shrub of your own, please send me pictures. You can find me over on Twitter and Instagram as @BrilliantBotany, or you can shoot me an email at claire@brilliantbotany.com if you want to show me how your shrub turned out. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments and let me know if you'd like me to do more videos like this. And if you'd like to support Brilliant Botany so I can keep making videos, head over to Patreon to become a monthly supporter, or check out my awesome merch at the link in the description. Even a small contribution helps me cover software costs and keep creating. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next week.